What brought bikes? Did you just happen to fall in love with as a kid? Like, what's the story?
And one of the guys I rode with said, we should go do this race. Yeah, sure, why not? I had no idea what I was doing. Doing that race is what hooked me. It wasn't the competition.
All right. You ready?
Sure.
All right. I gotta figure out how to hold these things. Thank you, Scott, for sitting down. This is the first, you are the first of the Bison cast, where I am, as you know, I am a new business owner. So I am just going around to small businesses like yourself to just talk business, because I personally want to understand the building of a business. And since we have a close relationship, I've done so much work here at the shop, at the bike shop, which we'll get into. I thought, what a better way than to discuss how this all came about with someone that I respect, someone that I admire, someone that's a mentor to me. Even though you don't think I look up to you, you are a mentor. So thank you for joining the first ever Bison cast and being a victim to my madness.
Okay, well, it's an honor.
So let me get into it. So we are in Janesville, Wisconsin. We are at Velocity Multisport and Cycling. And so before we get into the business side, let's get into the passion side.
Okay.
Because there is, just like me, I fell into the love of passion before a videography and podcast before I started the business side. So what brought bikes? Did you just happen to fall in love with as a kid? Like, what's the story?
Well, like most kids, I learned to ride a bike.
Yeah.
And then I learned to drive. Well, actually, I probably learned to drive about the same time I learned to ride a bike growing up on a farm. But, and then I kind of fell away. Okay. High school, went to Wente, got a job in the real world as a auto body repair painter. And then I was living a really unhealthy lifestyle, breathing paint fumes, primer dust, everything else. And I decided that I needed to do something to be a little more healthy. And I can't even tell you why I decided to buy my first bike, but I was 24, 25, say it, some give or take. And bought my first bike. I didn't know anything about what I was doing. I went to a small shop in Northwest Kansas that was a auto body / liquor store / bicycle shop. And they sold me what they had on the floor, and it was the wrong size, but I didn't know any better, and it was what it was. Started riding I lived in southwest Nebraska at the time. Started riding just in the town McCook. Eventually started meeting some of the local riders, which there wasn't a lot. McCook's like, I think 6,000 people in mid to late 80s. And one of the guys I rode with said, we should go do this race. I'm like, oh, sure, why not? I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. Doing that race is what hooked me. Gotcha. It wasn't the competition. We're riding along, probably doing 23, 24 miles an hour. And the sound of the chain hitting the sprockets and the sound of the freewheels, when you're in a group that big of 40, 50, 60 people, I don't have any idea how many people were in there.
Yeah.
But it was, to me, the coolest sound that I had ever heard in my life. Just a buzz as you're going around, people are talking, whatever. And it was just like, I can tell you the spot on the road where it was, where I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is it. I mean, and that from that moment on, my whole life changed.
So, but your love for bicycles started there, but I equate it to like a mechanic. You are also a mechanic. So have you always had that feature of building and putting things together with your hands and stuff like that? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I born and raised on a farm. Gotcha. The ability to look at something and figure it out and fix it.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of just farm kid.
Yeah.
We just get stuff done.
Gotcha. So then you fast forward to how long has the shop been open?
2020. So we're on our 5th year.
So you fast forward to 2020. Why Velocity? Why the name Velocity, and why Janesville, Wisconsin?
Well, I lived here for starters.
Yep.
We've been in Janesville for 17 and a half years. I worked at a shop in Madison for 13 years, and I saw a lot of Janesville people at our shop. I would go to rides around the Madison area, and I would see Janesville people there. So I knew that Janesville had a good ride presence. And living here, I knew we only had one shop. And when it was approached about, let's open up a shop, like, we could do that. I mean, and like I said, I've been commuting back and forth to Madison for 13 years. And I started driving, basically. I mean, it's a 45 to 50 minute drive. Riding, if you from my house to work was 45 miles, which was about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, give or take, depending on the wind and how tired I was.
So, okay. This is going to sound like a weird question, but I'm going to ask it. Before you were approached and said, hey, let's start a business, were you ever in your mind like, hey, maybe I'll become a business owner? Was this ever the plan?
Yes, I almost got into it back in like 95. I almost bought a shop in 95, but that didn't quite work out. I was going to go buy the shop that I started working at in 91. And then like we're getting there, we're starting, and all of a sudden she realizes that she doesn't really want to sell the shop. And I'm like, I was bummed. But it is what it is. And that kind of severed our tie. I mean, we were still friends, but it was like, okay, well, if I need to move on, because at the time I wasn't married yet, and my wife really didn't want to move to North Platte, Nebraska. She's from the Chicago area, which that's a totally other story. But from that point, after she decided that she didn't want to sell the shop, I got a job in Omaha, bigger city, more opportunities for myself and my wife.
Gotcha. Okay, so we got the passion side out of the way. Now let's talk business. Now I know the atmosphere in the shop because I've been here. I've been a part of it. My dad's really good friends with you, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. He's a annoyance in both of our sides. Yes. We all get that. But there is a family atmosphere here, mm-hmm. and it's incredible. And I think it honestly sets you apart from many other shops and locations, because you can walk in and see, and you just don't get that family vibe every time. Even from the first time I stepped in, I felt like, whoa, I've known you for 20 years and I don't feel that all the time. So was that always the plan, or did that just cultivate naturally?
That's me.
That's you.
I mean, that's us. That's Velocity. I mean, I'm pretty easy to get along with.
You are.
I like to have fun. I like to go for bike rides. I like to talk about bikes. I like to I get jittery or giddy when like there's new componentry coming out. I want to see it. I want to ride it. I want to play with it. I want to touch it. I guess I have like-minded people that have shopped here that have met us. I mean, and we've had, people come in, get to know us, and then they'll bring their friends and family. It is a good atmosphere. We're all pretty laid back. We ride our bikes. We have a good time. We drink a beer or 2 or 10. We have the deck out there, which after a nice bike ride, you can go out there. You can have a cup of coffee, or you can have a beer or whatever. And we have people that will show up for a Sunday ride at 7:00. We'll get back here at 10:30, and they'll be out on the deck, either reading a book, kicking back, relaxing, having a beer, having a coffee, until we close at 4. And it's just a good place to hang out. A nice, warm Wisconsin Sunday. Why not hang out at the deck?
Go to church. with a beer.
Go to church with a beer. Yeah, you know, some people have dirt church. We have, you know, pavement church, pave church.
So okay, you talked, but was there any like, I guess, strategy in that, or was there anything that you did personally? Like you're like, I'm going now. Granted, I know some behind the scenes stuff that not, you know, you have game nights for people and stuff like that. But like, was there any strategy to saying, hey, you know, we want you, or we just want you to stop in and get to know us. We don't even want your business. We want to just get to know you first.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so my business partner, Jason, he grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and he had a skate shop, bike shop that he went to. And he was looking for that vibe, more of a home away from home, where people could come in, have a good time, not be pressured to, just because you come in here doesn't mean you have to buy something. Come in here, hang out, talk, say, hey, you know, I saw this new blah, blah, blah. What do you think about it?
Yep.
So, you know, and I give my 2 cents worth on whatever it is, or, you know, I'm like, I'm so excited. I can't wait till it shows up. You know, I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to put it on my bike and go for a ride with it.
Yep. No, I get that, because even as a video person, I've been doing free work for gyms across Wisconsin right now. And everyone's like, why are you doing free work when you can charge them? I said, it's not about charging them when you build that relationship. Sometimes they don't want to buy things right away. They want to get to know you as a person and see how you operate. And that's how I learned that. I learned it from you because I've seen how you operate.
Yeah, I mean, it's granted, the bottom line is the bottom line, but you get to the point where you bring like-minded people in, and they're going to buy stuff from you. And by them enjoying the atmosphere, it just makes it more conducive for them to bring their friends here. And, you know, everybody has a good time. And, you know, if you buy something, thank you. If you support us, we really appreciate that. But if you just want to come in and hang out and talk, well, we'll do that too.
Yeah. So you've been here for 7 years, 5 years, 7 years, 6 years, something like that. How have you seen, I'm going to ask you the really pointed question next, but I'm not going to ask you that right away. How have you seen the bike culture change since this shop's been open, or just since your time of being here? Well, in the whole spectrum, not just here, like at the shop, but like in Janesville or the surrounding communities, because I know there's a huge culture.
Yeah. It sounds really weird and kind of odd, but COVID had a lot to do with the bike culture here.
Really?
Because you couldn't do anything. Nobody was going to work. Nobody could do anything. You know what people could do? They could ride their bikes. We're outside. Yep. Free air. No, it's not a problem. And during, COVID was a double-edged sword for us. You know, the upside, there are more upsides than downsides. The upsides were because we were a new shop, people would Google bike shop in our area and Velocity would pop up. We were having rides. Oh, well, I'm tired of riding by myself. I can show up to Velocity. When we opened, in the first year, we did early morning rides every morning, I think maybe at least 6 days a week, if not all 7. And then we would start out at 20-mile rides before work. Those turned into 35, 40-mile rides as the season got on. And then our 35, 40-mile rides on Saturday and Sunday turned into 50, 55-mile rides as the season got on, because our fitness got up so we could go faster.
Yeah.
But it really helped bring a lot more people in. We would have 20, 25 people show up on a Saturday and a Sunday ride.
Wow. So, and I'm not dissing the city. Have you seen since then though, because I knew the bike lanes were implemented long before I even moved away and came back. They were when I was a kid. Were they like a lost cause at that point, or did you see the influx in those being used? Because I've seen an influx since being back, and I've only been back for almost a year. Yeah.
No, it's definitely become more popular. Gotcha. I mean, in a lot of, like once again, the COVID thing, people bought bikes.
Yep.
Out of the, let's say, out of 100 people that bought bikes that weren't riders, probably 20 to 25 of those people are still riding their bikes.
Gotcha.
I mean, you have that group of people that they buy their new bike, they go for an hour and a half ride without having knowing what they're doing. And then they go, their butt hurts because they were sitting on a saddle for an extended period of time when they really shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah.
But there's other people like, this is so nice. It's free. I get out in the fresh air. I can take my kids with me. We're riding along, just having a good time.
And and this was not going to be my next question, but it goes into my next question. So you have these rides, which is great, and it builds that same family atmosphere and builds friendship and camaraderie and all that stuff. How do you help build a culture within that because everyone's a different type of level of cyclist? You have the people who could win the American Dairyland, thing, and then you have people that won't make it to the finish line or whatever. And I'm not saying no one made it to the finish line. I'm just saying that's the thing. And so how do you manage that, and how do you also build a culture where you encourage each other? Because I see, because you go to gyms, you go to cycling, there's always a competitive nature, but here I don't ever feel competitive nature unless it's just silly goosey, like we're just having fun and laughing about it. There's not that serious, I'm gonna beat you, you're gonna beat me.
There is friendly competition. I mean, we all know who the fast people are.
Yeah.
And we also know that we're going to be together. Say we're going to go on a 50-mile ride. A pretty good chance we're going to stay together for the first 20, maybe even the first 25. But you get to a point to where the guys who have, not the guys, the riders, men and women, have better fitness, and they're just going to start pulling away from you. Yeah. And you get to make a decision. How bad do I want to hurt? How long do I want to hurt? Do I want to enjoy this ride? And for the most part, the people that can go, that are just maintaining that pace, go. They're the people that just want to enjoy the ride, don't go.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we have always done here is nobody rides alone. So if we get somebody showed up that's on their first ride, one of us is going to ride with them. They're not, I mean, the plan may be we're going to go do 50 miles and we're going to average 18 miles an hour. Well, when you read the room, when people show up, I'm like, okay, I'll ride with you today. I got no, and I mean, fortunately for me, in the summertime, I ride almost every day. Yeah. So if it's a 50-mile ride and this other person is not as fit, I'm okay with not riding 50 miles. Sure. And then you get to know that person, and that helps the family atmosphere. Yep. Because you didn't put them at the kids' table, you let them sit at the big table, and everything went okay.
Gotcha. Was there, so kind of backing into the business side, is there any like marketing strategies, or besides social media, because social media is a cop out, is there any marketing strategies that you implement to help bring new people in besides social media? Or is there, what's your landscape with that?
Word of mouth. I mean, social media, people find you on social media after they already know you. True. Usually. True. They don't go out and search social media. Oh, I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. I don't do that. You come to the shop, we talk to, if a new person comes in and they're not in our system, usually they say, how did you hear about us? Oh, so-and-so bought a bike from you, or I drive by here all the time and I thought I would stop in. I saw your sign, heard you on the radio or whatever. So we just try to do things that people want to do. Like we said, we do the game night. We've had a couple of other little things that we haven't moved forward on, but I mean, we would try different things. There is no wrong answer. Yeah. It's just something that didn't go the way you wanted it to. Yeah. So I kind of know the answer to this, but this is the time when I say a pointed question because I know you and I know you don't like to flaunt your crap, but what sets you apart from everybody else in the surrounding community from
what makes Velocity the best?
I'm just gonna go. I've been doing this for 33 years.
Yep.
I've worked in super small shops that had, like, we sold maybe 250 bikes a year, to big, huge stores where we sold 5,000-6,000 bikes a year. I know what I'm talking about. Kind of easy to get along with. To say that I enjoy cycling is an understatement. I do have a passion for cycling, all shapes and forms. Whether it's, I love selling little kids their first bike. It's just, it's the look on a little kid's face and the look on a 50-year-old that's got on an e-bike for the first time since they were a little kid. It's kind of the same look. Yep. It's just, 45 years later.
Yep. Sure.
So when, and the appreciation for the people that come in here and the appreciation of the sport itself.
It's true. So 2 last things. What's one piece of advice that you would give? I'm not saying me, because there's going to be other first-time business owners or people that want to start businesses. What would that watch this? What would you give your piece of advice? What would that be? What would be the most heartfelt, in your gut, like, this is what I've learned, and this might be the most scariest thing, but this is what I encourage?
Well, it's cliche, but you have to follow your heart.
True.
If you're not going to do it for the money. When you start a small business, you're not doing it for the money.
Nope.
You're doing it because it is your passion. You want to share the pie.
Yep.
You want to give everybody, it doesn't matter how big of a slice it is, but you want everybody to have a piece of that pie. And the more people that you bring into it, the bigger the pie is, the bigger everybody's piece is. Yeah. So, if you have passion for something, follow it. Because it's difficult to open up a business, just to start a new business. And if you're not in it 110%, it's going to be really hard. Yeah. It's really hard anyway. There's so much stuff going on that you've got to, stay on top of, that if it isn't something that you are passionate about, willing to basicly give up your house for, it's true, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for all that insight. And I know there's a big event coming up for you, so I'm just going to give you a shot to just talk about it, because it's like a month away. And so I'll give you a little plug that, that it'll end up on your social media as well. So, yeah. It will. But it's a good time to get you on camera to talk about what's coming up in April.
So we are having it'll be our 3rd annual Velocity Expo. This year it is April 14th. Again, it's out the Craig Center. It's just one day, 10 a.m. to 7, I believe. I'm not sure on the time, but I think that's correct. 10 to 5 or 10 to 7. I'm not sure which. But I'll post it in the comments, the exact day and time. We've got adult bikes starting at $199. These are bike shop quality bikes. Normally they were between $460 to $500. We're just overstocked on them, and they just got to go. We'll have deals on everything. There will be on sale.
So you're telling me it's a bargain? It's
a bargain. It's a screaming deal.
All right. So if you're in Janesville, Wisconsin, come out to the Craig Center. And
Sunday, April 14th.
Sunday, April 14th. He already knew, I forgot. And come buy a bike and enjoy the summertime. Thank you, Scott, for being on my first episode. And I enjoyed this conversation. I learned a lot. Even though I've known you for a couple of years now. And, but like I said, I look up to you, and, every day, every moment I get to just talk real life with you is a blessing to me, and I appreciate it. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the share button. You know what to do. This is the Gavin cast. This is the Bison cast, not the Gavin cast, because this isn't my show. Anyway, thank you all, and see you next time.